Hi, and welcome to Bio 101. This is your instructor, Julia Nicholas, and in this video, we're going to cover everything that you need to know to get started with the course. In this video, we'll cover how to get in contact with me, what Bio 101 is, some important dates to keep in mind for winter term, the course layout in our system called Canvas. We'll go over a little bit of information from the course syllabus and on your text and how what your assignments will be in grading for the course. And lastly, some tips on how to succeed in an online course. So this is me, your instructor, Julia Nicholas. My email is juliamnicholas@faculty.klamathcc.edu. Please see the syllabus or the Contact Me extra credit link under modules for my phone number. Before we go any further, let's just cover really briefly what biology is. Technical definition for biology is the study of life, and the part of life that we will look at in this course are kind of the building blocks of life. So we'll start out by talking about the chemical elements that are important to life. We'll talk about cells and the different parts within a cell that make up living organisms, and we will talk about how living organisms get the energy needed to live. Since biology is a study of life, it's a study of a lot of things that we can relate to and that are going on in our own lives. And so, for example, you've probably heard of your metabolism before. Well, the picture on the right shows a hummingbird, and a hummingbird has the fastest metabolism of any bird or mammal, which means it burns energy at an incredibly fast rate. Hummingbirds get their energy from sugar found in the nectar of flowers. And if a hummingbird was the size of you would need to drink 1 can of soda every minute if your metabolism worked as fast as a hummingbird. So that's just sort of a fun fact. And we will get into metabolism toward the end of the course. There are a lot of questions that tend to come up with the online lecture lab combo courses. So I'd like to cover a few of those common questions that come up here. If you have other questions that pop up as you are getting started with the course, feel free to ask me those at any time. First off, what is Bio 101? It's a 3-unit lecture, 1-unit lab course, and it's a laboratory course, science course that's designed for non-biology majors. Next question is, how much time will this course take each week? This can somewhat surprise people if they haven't taken an online lab course before. But the lecture portion of the course on campus, you'd have about 3 hours of lecture time and then 3 to 6 hours of homework each week. So you should expect to spend about the same amount of time in the online course. We have a little bit less lecture, so you'll probably have about an hour of lecture per week watching a lecture video. You'll have then, to make up that time difference, you'll have 1 to 2 hours that you'll spend on discussions each week, and then 3 to 6 hours on the chapter reading and homework each week. On test weeks, we will either have no discussion or no chapter outline to give you the time that you need to complete the test. So the amount of work should stay relatively the same each week. If you are also enrolled in the lab portion of the course, the labs will take about 3 to 4 hours per week, and we'll talk more about that in the lab video. Next question related to the lab is, do I have to be enrolled in the lab? And the answer is yes, if you haven't already taken and passed the lab. So for most people taking this course for the first time, you have to be enrolled simultaneously in the lecture and the lab. If you took this course in a previous term and just didn't pass the lecture portion, then you could take the lecture and not the lab, or vice versa. Your next question down, can I work with other students on assignments? And the answer to this is yes, it's great to work with other students on assignments. Working with other students can be really helpful in a way to talk about the course and help you understand things. So working together is definitely great. And what I recommend for working together is that you can talk about assignments, you can do labs together, but when you sit down to actually write out your own answers to an assignment, whether it's a lab report or a chapter outline, you can talk about it as much as you want, but when you go to type out your own answers, you should each do that on your own, writing your own answers in your own words. So you can work together, but you can't submit the same exact duplicate copies of an assignment. And our final question is how to get help in the course. And the quickest way to get help is to send a text to my cell phone. My phone number is in Canvas. And I generally have my phone on me from about 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And usually I will get back to you pretty quickly. There are exceptions, but generally I'm pretty quick at getting back. to you if you have a question during those hours. You can also send me an email and I will get back to you within about 24 hours. And since it takes a little longer for me to see your email and get back to you, and then for you to see that email, it's a little slower getting back and forth with email, but if that's what you prefer, you can definitely do that. If you're wanting the quickest answer possible, if you're right in the middle of assignment and need help, my cell phone, sending a text to that is definitely quickest. I also have office hours on Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m., but you don't have to restrict questions to those times. You can ask questions at any time. Here is the academic calendar for KCC, and I'd just like to go over a couple important dates for winter term. So this is a good calendar to look at if you're wondering about terms for registration, drop dates, withdrawal dates. A couple that I think are most relevant to winter term here, which is this column here, is the last day to drop a class for a full refund, and the last day to add a class is January 11th, which is a Friday. And the last day to withdraw with a W in the class is Friday, March 1st. We have our final exams here on this week, March 18th through the 22nd, and the last day of the term is technically March 22nd, but if you look at the due dates in the course, your final is actually due on March 21st. So those are the main dates for this course to keep in mind, and don't forget when you, in February, Monday 11th, you can start registration for spring term. So that's another important date to keep in mind coming up here in just about another month. Here is the academic calendar for KCC, and I'd just like to go over a couple important dates for winter term. So this is a good calendar to look at if you're wondering about terms for registration, drop dates, withdrawal dates. A couple that I think are most relevant to winter term here, which is this column here, is the last day to drop a class for a full refund, and the last day to add a class is January 11th, which is a Friday. And the last day to withdraw with a W in the class is Friday, March 1st. We have our final exams here on this week, March 18th through the 22nd, and the last day of the term is technically March 22nd, but if you look at the due dates in the course, your final is actually due on March 21st. So those are the main dates for this course to keep in mind, and don't forget when you, in February, Monday 11th, you can start registration for spring term. So that's another important date to keep in mind coming up here in just about another month. Let's next go over where to go to get started with the course, and that is a site called Canvas. And Canvas is the site where all of your course information is located. It's where you'll go to find and submit all of your assignments, view your lectures, take your tests, and view your grades and email. And that is at a site called klamathcc.instructure.com. Once you have it in your web address here, either bookmark that or your web address will probably keep it there for you, but you'll be going to that site a lot throughout the term, so that's a good one to have handy. Your username that you will enter goes right here, and that is your, I believe it's a 6-digit student ID number, and then you'll have a password that you should have for that. And this is the same username and password for all your courses. Once you enter those in, you'll click Login. It should take you to a screen like this when you log in. This is your dashboard, and it will show you icons for all of your classes. It also has on the left here, you can see usually takes you first to the dashboard. You can click on courses, and that will show you a list of your courses in more of a list format. And there's a calendar feature, an inbox feature, and we'll go over all those in just a little bit. The main thing from your dashboard when you log in there that's nice to keep track of is it has this little microphone icon or megaphone icon, and that means that you have a new announcement for the course. So if you see this icon here, click on that icon. It will take you to any new announcements for the course, and that would be the case with any of your courses. And that's just a note from your instructor letting you know something important about the course. So here's the calendar, and if you click, this is on the very left on the red links, if you click the calendar button here, it takes you out of the course and takes you to a calendar where you can view assignments for any of your online courses. If you were to click on these buttons here, it would make the assignments for that course show up on your calendar. If you unclick them, it will make those assignments go away from your calendar. So you can choose to only look at assignments for a certain course or to look at assignments for all of your course. So it's your choice on what you want to view on the calendar. If you click on this arrow here, it will take you to the next month, so you can scan through any of the months and all the assignments you have due. If you, from this point, want to go back to the class, you could hit the back arrow button to get back to the course, but the other way would be to click on the dashboard or courses link and reselect the course. Below the calendar button is the inbox link, and when you click on that, you'll go to the email system through Canvas, and this section here would be a list of any emails that you have sent or received. And this feather button here, actually this will just show you, you can choose to select if you want to see your inbox or your sent box, and that would show up here. If you want to compose a new email, you would click this feather button here, and you could choose to send an email to any one of your instructors that are using Canvas. For this course, email, of course, is just fine. I tend to check the email system about once a day, so depending on when you send the email to me, you may not get a reply for a day or two later. I will try to get to those as soon as possible, but it tends to take a day or two for me to see and reply to your email. If you are wanting a fast reply, you're working on an assignment and have a question you would like to get answered quickly, text messages are the fastest and easiest way to get a hold of me. And I'll go over a little bit later where to find my phone number to send me text messages. If you can't do that, of course, emails are just fine. It is quicker to send text messages if you were able to do that. Once you log into Canvas, you'll see your dashboard, and it will have icons like this for each course. So if you want to go into biology, you'll click on the biology link, and that will open up the home page for our course. The only thing that really is on the home page that you should be aware of is the recent announcements for the course. So if you click on a new announcement, that's where I put any information that I need you to know specifically for that week, something new that came up or changes to the course, or something that's some issue that's going on that I want you to be aware of. So if you see an announcement, make sure you click on that and review the announcements. And then after that, most of your course content will be located in modules. So we'll go into that next on where to go to get all of your course content. All right, so once you click on modules, you'll see a weekly breakdown of what to do each week and what the activities for the week are. So for this first week, you are going to want to do everything in the start here, which you are on this video here right now. And then you'll want to review the KCC institutional syllabus and also the course syllabus, which is located right here, and take the syllabus quiz. You want to do that the very first thing you do for this course, because that establishes your attendance for this course. And if you don't take that syllabus quiz this first week by Wednesday, then you can be automatically dropped from the course for non-attendance. So this is really important to make sure that you get done first. Once you get done with this kind of getting started section here, then you're ready to go to your weekly activities. And so each week has a breakdown of activities with an overview. This is where I go over what we're covering for the week, an overview of what your assignments are and what we're doing for the week. And then there are activities for the lecture under this lecture heading here. So anything under the lecture heading, if you're taking the lecture, you'll want to be doing those activities. And then anything under the lab, if you're taking the lab, are the activities that you need to do for lab. So you will receive 2 separate grades for the class, assuming you're taking the lecture and the lab. And anything in here goes towards your lecture grade. Anything under the lab heading goes towards your lab grade. So make sure that you review all of those assignments each week. Under the modules link, there's this assignments link. And as I mentioned earlier, modules really has all of the information that you need to know to go about your week, all your assignments and objectives and information from me on the week. If you're looking, however, for a quick breakdown of everything that's due and when, I know that's sometimes nice to just have a list of everything you need to do and make sure you've checked everything off the list. You can click on this assignments button here, and it gives you a list of everything due for the course, and then this due date shows what module it's found in and when it's due and how many points it's worth. You can sort these assignments by date, or you can sort them by type of assignment. So it would, for example, put all your discussions together, all your tests together. So whatever way is more convenient for you, you can do that, and that gives you a good overview of everything that you have due for the course. The next link down below assignments is grades. And when you click on this link here, you can see a list of all of your different assignments, their due date, and then this column here would be your score out of how many points. So for example, if you got 10 out of 10, it would say a 10 right here. If you got 9 out of 10 points, it would show a 9 right here. If you go down to the very bottom, it shows your total for the course. And so it will have your total score for the course down here. It allows you to sort by due date or by type of assignment, and so you can sort your assignments differently if you'd like to sort them that way. There is a feature here to calculate, if you unclick this here where it says calculate based on graded assignments, it says you can view your grades based on what if scores so that you know how your grade will be affected by upcoming assignments. So for example, if you want to put in a 0 for assignment and see what would happen to my overall score if I got a 0 on this assignment, I believe you can do that there. So that's your grade section. Make sure that you check that frequently. Our grading for the course is standard 90 to 100% is an A, 80 to 89% is a B, 70 to 79% is a C, etc. And remember that if you're in the lecture and lab section, you'll receive a separate lecture and lab grade, so make sure you check your grade in each of those sections. A little bit more on grades. My goal is to grade assignments within a week of the due date. So if you have an assignment that you turn in, let's say a week 1 assignment, then everybody should have that turned in by the end of week 1. So by the end of week 2, I hope to have that assignment graded. If there's an assignment that hasn't been graded yet and you really like to know how you did, because maybe you're getting ready to start on another assignment and you want to make sure you're doing things right, then let me know and I will try to grade your assignment sooner if you need that graded sooner. So just let me know if you're waiting on a grade and it's important to get that back more quickly. And you'll receive a separate lecture and lab grade, so make sure that you check your grades in both sections if you're in both sections often. And I'd really like to have all your grades be perfect, but errors do happen. If you see something that doesn't look right, don't panic. Let me know as soon as possible, and we will work on getting your grades fixed. Let's cover next how to get in contact with me. So as I mentioned earlier, you can send me emails through Canvas and I will try to check my email at least once a day. If you're working on an assignment and need help more quickly, the fastest way to get in touch with me and get your questions answered is with a text message. And students will often ask what time is appropriate to send texts, and I generally have my phone on me between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. and don't feel bad about sending a text. That's what I'm here for, and I'm happy to help. So anytime you need help, definitely feel free to send a text or email if that's easier for you. My phone number is located in the syllabus, or if you go under modules in the course, go to week 1, there's a week 1 extra credit link right here. And this is an optional assignment, but you can click on that one to get my phone number if you need that. And if you would like the extra credit for that, send me a text or email during this first week and let me know your name and your course number and section, and then click on that week 1 extra credit. That is an assignment you can submit saying that you contacted me and by what method, and then you'll receive 10 extra credit points for submitting that week 1 extra credit assignment. That's everything that you need to know to get around in Canvas and get around in your course. So let's get started with what you'll actually need to do to get started with this course. So we've talked about doing the syllabus quiz. Obviously, that's the first thing that you want to do. Another thing that you need to do very quickly this week is make sure you have your biology textbook. And so the textbook that we are using looks like the text in the picture there. It's blue. It's called Biology, A Guide to the Natural World. We're using the 5th edition. And so make sure you get that soon. You will be needing that in week 2 to do your homework. So there's reading from week 1, but the first thing that you'll have to submit from the textbook is your chapter 2 outline, your homework for chapter 2, and that's due next week. Again, if you click on the left-hand link under this course on modules, it will take you to a breakdown of what you'll need to do week by week for the course. What you'll want to do is start by, once again, by reviewing this week 1 overview, and then you can move on to any assignments that are due during the week. In most weeks, you'll have a weekly discussion that's due, so you do have a week 1 discussion. Most weeks will also have a chapter outline based on your chapter reading, and that will be due in most weeks as well. We don't have one of those for week 1 just to allow you a little more time to get familiar with the course, but you will see those chapter outlines starting in week 2. You also see links to anything else that's due in the week. So for example, if there's a quiz or test due, you'll see links to that. There's this week 1 extra credit option where you can contact me, so there's links to that. So anything that's due will have a link here under the weekly modules. One of the things you'll want to do early on this week is do your week 1 discussion. During this week, you'll be introducing yourself to the class, and you'll need to turn in your discussions each week by Wednesday. I'm only allowed to put 1 due date in Canvas, and so when you look at a due date, whether you look at it here or in on the calendar, this right here, this January 9th is the due date, and if you that due date is for your initial reply, and then all of your reply, you're required to reply twice to other students. Those are due on Sunday every week. So keep those dates in mind. Sometimes instructors for different classes have different due dates, but our due dates are Wednesday for the initial post and Sunday for your replies. And your discussions will need to be at least 300 words for your initial post, 100 words for each reply, and include a valid academic citation with each posting. And those official rules for your discussions really start in week 2. So week 1's a little less formal, but in week 2, you'll see some detailed instructions on exactly what you'll need to be including in your discussion. So next I'm going to cover the information that's specific to the Bio 101 lab. If you are not taking the Bio 101 lab for some reason, then this won't apply to you. And there is some more information at the end of this video that so you can continue to watch, but you will not need to be ordering the lab kit and checking out a microscope if you're not taking the lab. If you are taking the lab, then these slides will apply to you and will explain to you what you need to be doing in this first week for the lab. The Bio 101 lab is the laboratory component that goes along with the Bio 101 lecture, and biology is the study of life. So in this course, we will be going through a series of labs designed to help you better understand and put into practice the topics from the Bio 101 lecture. You'll do all of your labs at home. You'll use supplies found in your lab kit. So when you order your lab kit, you should get a box from Carolina Biological. You will also need to check out a microscope. We'll go over how to do that in just a little bit. And you'll use all these supplies to do your labs entirely at home. There are the first couple weeks of lab, the first 2 weeks, that we will use things that you can find around your house. And then starting in week 3 through week 10, you'll need your lab kit to do all the remainder of the labs. The lab is 10 weeks long. There's no final, hooray. So you get 1 less week for lab, which is nice. And you will complete 8 labs total. The other 2 weeks are checking out and returning your microscope. And then 2 of your labs out of those 8, you'll need to use the microscope. For the lab kit for the course, you can share a lab kit with another student who is currently taking the course if you plan to do the labs together. And the reason I say together is you can't reuse a lot of the labs. But if you have someone that you know you can reliably get together with every week and work on the labs together, then you are more than welcome to share your lab kit and your microscopes, save on those costs, and it's always nice to have a partner to kind of help talk about the labs as you get through them. When you go to order your lab kit, the website, just so you're aware, this shows an instructor message, which isn't not actually my message, but it states that you can't share the kits. Please disregard this. You can share the kits. If you choose to share a kit, like I said, please make sure that you're sharing a kit with someone who you can do the lab with. So you can share the kits, you can do the labs together with someone, you will have the same data as the person that you share the lab kit, but when you go to complete your lab write-up or report, you should write this in your own words. So you can certainly talk about it, but when you're actually typing out your answers, do those in your own words, and essentially you'll submit certain parts of your lab. Like I said, your data will be exactly the same, but you won't both submit the same exact lab write-up or lab report because that part will be done in your own words. So there are two ways to order your lab kit. You can order it using a credit card if you have that option available to you. If you don't have a credit card or you need to use financial aid, you can get what's called a voucher through the bookstore and order it using your financial aid or cash that way. But I'm going to first go over how to use a credit card. And to use a credit card, you'll go to this site here. I'll put this site in the assignment also in Canvas. But you'll go to this website right here. It will pop up a screen that looks like this. And it does say that the name of the instructor is Catherine Dubois here. I was recently added as the instructor to this course and they haven't gotten certain things updated yet. So this is the correct kit for this course, even though the instructor name is different. And when I am trying currently to go to this website, it is not opening for me in Firefox for some reason, which usually tends to always work, but it is working in the Explorer website. So you may need to try a different browser if this, for some reason, you try to click on it and it won't open. Try a different browser and see if it'll open on that. But hopefully by the time you get to it, it will be working, but just want to let you know that just in case. So the cost of your lab kit should come out to $134.95, I believe, with shipping. And the way that you'll order your kit once you get to the site is you'll click on Order Online Now. When you click on that, you will see this screen pop up here, and you can click to add this to your cart. Hopefully it should say in stock and available to ship. You'll click Add to your cart. This will pop up. You then will click Go to your cart. So click that, and then you'll see this price here. This is the price before shipping. You'll click Checkout here. And the next thing here that gets a little bit confusing is you'll need to go to New Customers and click that you're shipping to a home or business. So select this middle option here and then select Continue. So that's it for ordering with a credit card. That should get you your kit. Hopefully they'll give you a confirmation number, and you're going to need to go in under week 1 in your assignments and let me know that you got your kit ordered, and you'll need that voucher number and the date that you, or not voucher number, you'll need your order number and the date you ordered it. So the other way, like I mentioned, to order your lab kit is using financial aid. And you can either go to the bookstore online and do it online, or you can go to the bookstore in person and you will say that your course you want to order the book for is Bio 101L, and they will give you can use your financial aid if you have that option available, or cash through the bookstore to get what's called a voucher. The voucher will just give you a code, and you will go to this website here. And you have to go to this website. You can't go to the website mentioned in the previous screen to use your voucher, but you'll go to this website here and enter in all of your information, enter in your voucher code from the bookstore, and then you should be ready to go through the ordering process for your kit. And again, if this website doesn't open for you in one of your browsers, you might try using a different browser. To check out your microscope, you'll go to Modules, and under week 1, there's a link here that says Check Out Your Microscope. And when you click on that, it'll open up something in a quiz format, and the In there will be the instructions on how to check out your microscope. So the first thing that you'll want to do is call Marcia Richmond, and this is the phone number here in the LRC, and make sure that they still have microscopes available. To check out a microscope, you'll need to know what version of Windows you have. If you have Windows 2010 or an earlier version, or you have a computer that doesn't have Windows. So if you have Windows 2010, you can check out one of those microscopes. There are a limited number of microscopes for Windows 2010. So it's possible that you'll go to check out a microscope for Windows 2010. They won't have any for that. And if that's the case, you can check out the other version of the microscope, and then you just won't be using the camera attachment to the microscope. This may be a little bit confusing right now. I will go into more detail when you actually get to the microscope lab. But essentially, if you have Windows 2010, try to get a Windows 2010 microscope. If you can't, that's okay. You can get the other microscope. If you have the older version of Windows, then there should be plenty of those microscopes to go around, and you'll check out one of the older versions of the microscope. If you don't have Windows, then you can just check out the older version of the Windows microscope and not use the camera attachment. If you are sharing a lab kit with someone, or you'd like to share a microscope with someone, you are certainly welcome to do that. So if you share a microscope, you'll both want to still submit this quiz here for your own points. And the only thing that you'll be doing for this quiz is taking a picture of your microscope and submitting it here. So the things that this has on it, is to first, like I said, contact Marcia Richmond at this number in the LRC and see if they have microscopes. You'll want to print out this form and fill it out and take that with you to the LRC to get your microscope. When you get home with your microscope, you'll take a photo of your microscope and you'll upload it into this quiz. And if you need to retake the quiz later, if you made a mistake for some reason, you can. And lastly, don't attempt to set up your microscope until you have reviewed the microscopy lab instructions video. There's a lot of delicate pieces that can break if not attached properly. So at this point, you'll want to get your microscope, check it out, bring it home, and then when you are ready to start using it, follow the instructions in the week 3 lab for your microscope. And there are videos on how to set up your microscope and how to take it out of the box. So don't do anything with your microscope until you have watched those videos. So last up here are my tips for how to succeed in an online course. And the first thing that I would recommend at this point in the course is to start the quarter right. So in this course and any of your other courses, go into the course, check out the syllabus, check out all the assignments that you'll need to be doing, get your textbook, your lab supplies, any other things you need for your courses to get started so that right from the beginning you're ready to do your assignments and you know what you need to do so you don't get behind in this first week. Next would be reviewing the calendar each week. This helps you keep track of what you need to do, make sure that you're not missing an assignment for any of your courses. And by reviewing the calendar each week, kind of keeps you focused on making sure you're working on the assignments that you need to work on and looking ahead to what's going to be coming up. Next, I'd say make sure that you have a dedicated place and time to do your work. There are certain, all of us have different situations, but there are definitely situations when you have distracting noises, other family members that make it hard to get work done. So if it's possible to do your work in the place where you can best focus and at a time when you are best able to focus on getting your work done. For myself, if I try to work with my kids around, I'm really unproductive. If I can get a few minutes to sneak away, I can get done in a few minutes what might have taken me an hour to do with all the chaos around me. So it's possible to find that quieter place to work that can really help be a time saver for you. Next is achieving a family, work, school, depending on what's going on in your life, balance. And by this, I mean, we all have different commitments that we need to meet, and it's not realistic to expect that school will be our only priority, especially on the online world, but we do have to work on trying to balance school with the other things that we need to do. So try to plan out as you look ahead to the quarter, planning when you're going to get your schoolwork done, when you're going to spend the time you need to with work or with family, and just juggling your schedules and trying to come up with a realistic plan of getting everything done that you need to get done and not thinking that you're going to get all your schoolwork done for 3, 4, 5 classes in an hour. once a week. So being realistic with your time for all of your different commitments. One of the other really big things to being successful is just staying on schedule. So if you have certain things you need to get done for the week, making sure you get those things done. When you get behind, it gets really hard to catch up because you have current week's work and then past work that's due, and it can become really overwhelming. So if it's possible, try each week to get the assignments done that need to get done and not let them start piling up on you. Next, I'd say, excuse me, stay motivated. So there comes a certain point, I know for myself in the quarter, when I get really burned out and it's hard to keep moving forward with everything I need to get done. And I know when I was a student, it was the same way. Different people, I think, find that at different times that they can really push through and get things done, and other times in the quarter are really hard to stay focused. So whenever that happens, that you're feeling like it's hard to keep up on what you need to get done, remind yourself it's only a certain number of weeks. Try to make a plan of what you're going to get done each week to finish off the course, and try to keep up that motivation. Know that it won't be forever, and you will be done with course and with school before you know it. So just keeping up that motivation throughout the quarter. Next, I'd say participate. So if you get engaged in the class, you participate in discussions, ask questions, get help when you need to. It really all does make the course easier. Talking with other students about questions, about difficulties, and as I mentioned, getting help when you need help just makes the course much easier than trying to struggle through it by yourself if you're struggling on something. Next, look for study partners. So if there's anyone in the course that wants to work together with you on an assignment and you can work together and help each other out, that would be great. When you submit your assignments, what I'm looking for on my end is that you do the write-ups on your own, but you can certainly, if you have someone you want to do labs with or any other activities with, you can do the activities together. So you could have the same data, for example, for a lab, but then write up the questions to the lab questions in your own words, each of you, so don't each turn in the same assignment. And my last tip would be is if there's a week when you were able to work ahead in any of your courses, try to do that. So try to work ahead a little bit, and that way it'll lessen up the load and the pressure later on in a week when maybe you have a lot going on. So if you're able to work ahead, feel free, at least in this course, to do that. It's whatever's available, you're welcome to work ahead on. And so those are my tips. And as I think I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest things is just if you're struggling on something, don't sit and just struggle. If you're spending more than 10 minutes or so trying to figure something out, please feel free to send me an email or text message and ask for help, and probably can get you that help quickly so you're not sitting trying to figure something out on your own for hours and hours. So ask for help whenever you need it. I am more than happy to help. That's the end of our getting started with the course tutorial. So good luck in the course, and please don't hesitate to contact me at any time with any questions as you get started.